السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أكرمك الله يا حاج. Yeah, I just left it open. How's everybody doing? I hope you guys are all well. Inshallah. Alhamdulillah, I'm doing very well. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Good Eid. Mom and Momiji in the house as well, mashallah. Alex, Saleh, Adam. Alhamdulillah. This is a good spread that we have here, mashallah. All right, let's have a look. Where are we? Let's open up. Is the Zoom link working now? I see a couple of comments saying that it's not working. Yeah, don't know how long ago that was. Oh, here we are. Assalamu alaikum, Imam. Please, can you give your salams to my dad, Ali Adat? Wa alaikum salam. Assalamu alaikum, Uncle Ali. He's missing coming to the masjid in Ramadan. Yeah, I think it's the same for a lot of people. So, assalamu alaikum to all of those who are missing coming to the masjid in Ramadan. Okay, good. Zoom is working. I know Zoom is working because you guys are speaking to me from Zoom, so alhamdulillah. Bismillah. Let's get things ready. Inshallah, it's an odd night tonight, so I hope you guys are all rested up throughout the day and ready to tackle this evening, inshallah. Okay. So, Bismillah, without further ado, let us begin, inshallah ta'ala. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وأصلي وأسلم على من بعث رحمة للعالمين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Brothers and sisters, and welcome to what is part number 24 of our Quranic Synopsis series, where we go through the Qur'an juz by juz and covering all that is mentioned in it. Well, I say all, but we attempt to try and cover the vast majority of what we can cover in the time that is provided for us, inshallah ta'ala. Giving us a good working map as to how the Qur'an is put together so that we are not lost and cannot find our way through it as we go through it ourselves, inshallah ta'ala. Okay, so today we are going to cover Surah Az-Zumar, as we hadn't covered it yesterday, Surah Ghafir and Surah Fussilat, inshallah ta'ala, if time permits. Surah Fussilat, it runs on to the 25th juz, but only a page. So inshallah, we should be able to get through it if possible, bidnillah. Okay, so Surah Az-Zumar is the first of the surah that we're going to cover. Surah Az-Zumar actually begins in the previous juz, the juz that started yesterday, that we covered yesterday, the 23rd. But because it runs on to this juz as well, we figured we would cover it today as opposed to yesterday. Plus, obviously, time always runs out for us every time we want to finish all the surahs anyway. So let us then begin, inshallah. So Surah Zumar. Zumar is called Zumar because it is named after groups of people. And these groups of people are going to be mentioned towards the end of the surah. where they are gathered together, Yawm al-Qiyamah, and each one of them takes their set places in Jannah or Jahannam. And those are the groups that are referred to, and thus this surah was titled. It was revealed around about the time of the migration to Habasha, or just before that. So around the third, maybe fourth year after prophethood, just when the da'wah has now become apparent, and the Prophet ﷺ is no longer calling to Islam secretly, rather he is calling to it openly, and the animosity of the Quraysh has just started. It's not like severe, they're not persecuting and killing and so on and so forth just yet, but it's about to get there. And this was just before the Islam of I think it was Umar, or is it Hamza? Oh no, that's going to come actually. Don't quote me on that one. That's going to come inshallah a little bit later. Anyway, there is a sort of an underlying theme in this surah, which is how do we actualize Tawheed in our lives, right? So there's this concept of oneness of Allah. There's this concept of, the akhirah and, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's revelation and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and so on and so forth. How do we realize those things in our lives, right? They are concepts, and some of those concepts they're not tangible, right? So Iman, what is Iman? Iman is a belief in Allah, in the angels, in the books, in his messengers, in the last day, in the qadr. These things, you can't touch Iman. You can't sort of draw a picture of what Iman looks like, right? Whereas Salah and Zakah and stuff like that, you can actually sort of describe these things. You can describe what they look like and, how you do them and so on and so forth. But how do you do Iman, right? So this surah kind of like sort of, it draws out an outline as to how to do that. There are some buzzwords in this particular surah as well. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this surah, more than any other surah, is going to call his servants, Ya ibadi, right? And he's going to say this a lot, Ya ibadi, oh my servants, oh my servants. And there's a lot of allusions to this and a lot of mention of this. So it's very much a close sort of relationship that we have with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that is portrayed through this surah. So let's explore it in a little bit more detail, inshallah ta'ala. So it opens up, تنزيل الكتاب من الله العزيز الحكيم. This is a revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. إنا أنزلنا إليك الكتاب بالحق فاعبد الله مخلصا له الدين. And verily we have sent down to you this book with purpose, بالحق. And every time you see the word بالحق, most of the time it means there is a purpose behind this revelation. There is a purpose behind Allah saying what he's saying right now, right? There's a reason for saying it. You have to recognize that reason. You have to find that reason. If that reason doesn't jump out of the page to you, then you have to search in yourself and you have to ask yourself, what is this haqq that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about? The word haqq, whilst it doesn't mean purpose like in its literal translation, it actually means truth in its literal translation. But our purpose is to find the truth and live by it. فَاعْبُدِ اللَّهَ مُخْلِصًا لَهُ الدِّينَ. So once you have recognized that purpose, فَاعْبُدِ اللَّهَ مُخْلِصًا لَهُ الدِّينَ, then worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the utmost sincerity. Mukhlisan. Mukhlisan comes from the word khalas, right? Or khalusa, which the word khalas is taken from, right? So you hear a lot of, Arabs when they're talking, they're talking and they're talking to each other, and each one is saying things to each other, and at the end of which they just say khalas, right? You hear that a lot. So khalas, it means, when they say that, it means like, that's it, it's finished, it's done, right? Meaning that there's nothing more to say, it's complete. But here, when it's talking about mukhlis or ikhlas, it's completely for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is nothing else that is mixed with the act of worship that you are doing. Your entire life, the way you live by, everything is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is what it means to have ikhlas. To have ikhlas is the thing that I am doing is wholly and for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And there's no other agenda that is mixed up within it. So mukhlisan lahu din, right? So sincerity towards him in your deen. And your deen, deen is a word that is used for religion, right? So Islam is a deen. But deen in its actuality, what it actually means is it means a judgment, right? So in all of your judgments, in all of your affairs, how you think and how you react and the decisions that you make, all of those things, that is deen. Yeah? And that is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al-Fatiha, Maliki yawmiddin, right? Owner of the day of judgment, ad-deen, judgment. So your sincerity is in all of your decisions, all of the things that you do. Ala lillahi ad-deenul khalis. For Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the ultimate decision, and for him are all your decisions in sincerity. Ala lillahi ad-deenul khalis. So every decision that you make should be for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No decision that you make should be for any other reason. Whilst there are other purposes and other reasons that you do things for, right? Coupled with that, what it should, and sort of the foundation of where it emanates from and all your actions emanate from, they should all come from this sincerity towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And these two verses, this beginning, this opening, kind of sets the tone for the rest of the surah. وَالَّذِينَ اتَّخَذُوا مِن دُونِهِ أَوْلِيَاءَ مَا نَعْبُدُهُمْ إِلَّا لِيُقَرِّبُونَ إِلَى اللَّهِ زُلْفَى. And anything that is worshipped for other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they say that we are only worshipping them so that they may draw us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? We are taking them as intercessors with Allah. We go through them in order to get to Allah, right? And obviously this is a lie. They don't want to get to Allah through them. Rather, they just want to put these false idols and false gods in their places so that people can worship them and they can have some form of dominion over the people who worship them, right? And it's like, we set down these codes and laws and ethics and so on and so forth in order for us to be a just and good society. Or is it that you put down these laws and these codes of ethics and so on and so forth so that you may not control the masses and the populace? What is it, right? Is it to get closer to Allah? Is it to get closer to the haqq? Or is it to control and have dominion? إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَحْكُمُ بَيْنَهُمْ فِي مَا هُمْ فِيهِ يَخْتَلِفُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you can say what you want, but Allah is going to judge ultimately between them. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَهْدِي مَنْ هُوَ كَاذِبٌ كَفَّارٌ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he doesn't guide to the straight path those who are liars and those who are ungrateful. Then he goes on to sort of mention sort of his greatness in terms of his creation. خلقكم من نفس واحدة ثم جعل منها زوجها وأنزل لكم من الأنعام ثمانية أزواج. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he created Adam, and from Adam he made his spouse, right, from that single organism. ذلكم الله ربكم له الملك لا إله إلا هو فأنا تصرفون. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only one worthy of worship. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about all these things, all these great creations that he's created, and he alludes to them and he points towards them, he's really justifying why it is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should be the one that's worthy of worship. Why it is that our focus should be upon Allah, right? And it doesn't need justification, but we need some form of reasoning in order for our minds to get around it, because we have been created weak and we need those justifications. Whereas for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it doesn't need any justification for himself to be worshipped. And what it means to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is to direct all of our beings towards him, right? Meaning that we don't direct it towards anything in the dunya, any type of material possession. We don't direct it towards a person or a thing or a law or a country or a town or whatever the case. No, we direct it towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is what unites us. So that whether you are black, brown or white, whether you are from England or from India or from Indonesia, wherever you're from, there is a connect between you guys. And that connect isn't something that is created that can be changed. That isn't something that is created that someone can have sort of dominion over and tell you that this is what's right and this is what's wrong. Rather, you guys are all equal in understanding what is right and what is wrong, right? And that's what truly unites you guys. That's what truly will bring peace on this earth. إِن تَكْفُرُوا فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ غَنِيٌّ عَنْكُمْ. But if you decide to turn away, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he doesn't need you. Doesn't need you at all. وَلَا يَرْضَى لِعِبَادِهِ الْكُفْرِ. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he doesn't wish for his servants to disbelieve. وَلَا يَرْضَى لِعِبَادِهِ الْكُفْرِ. His servants, he doesn't want them to disbelieve. And all of us, all of mankind are his servants. All of us are his slaves. Whether we believe or we disbelieve, whether we recognize that there is a God or we don't recognize there is a God, we're still his servants, we're still his slaves. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he doesn't wish for us to disbelieve, right? Now you can look at this in sort of four different scenarios that could come about with regards to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants and what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pleased with. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could want something and he could be pleased with that thing, but he could not want something but still be pleased with that thing. He could want something but be displeased with it, right? And he could not want something and still be displeased with it. So there's four different scenarios and four different outcomes as to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could want and what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala dislikes. What he wants and what he likes is, for example, Iman and the Iman of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu. So he loves Iman, he wants people to believe, and he wanted Abu Bakr to believe, so he believed, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he loves or he likes for us to believe. So he likes Iman, he loves Iman, but he sometimes doesn't want that to happen for others. So Abu Jahl, for example, he wants him to believe, or he likes for him to believe, but he didn't want him to believe, so he didn't believe, right? The third one is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could dislike something, but still want it to happen. Like the disbelief of Abu Jahl. He dislikes disbelief, but he wanted it to happen for Abu Jahl. And similarly, he could dislike something and not want it to happen either, so it doesn't happen. So he dislikes kufr, and he didn't want it to happen for Abu Bakr, so he didn't disbelieve, like that. So those are the different scenarios that could take place. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He doesn't want us to, or He doesn't like for us, He's not pleased for us to disbelieve, but it still could happen. وَإِن تَشْكُرُوا يَرْضَهُ لَكُمْ, and if you are grateful, then He likes that. He is pleased with that. وَلَا تَزِرُ وَازِرَةٌ وِزْرَ أُخْرَى, and He doesn't burden any other with another's burden. So my burden is my burden. No one else is going to carry that except me. Anyway, so He's laying out all of these things at the beginning. And He goes on to say, أَمَّنْ هُوَ قَانِتٌ آنَاءَ اللَّيْلِ سَاجِدًا وَقَائِمًا يَحْذَرُ الْآخِرَةَ وَيَرْجُو رَحْمَةَ رَبِّهِ قُلْ هَلْ يَسْتَوِي الَّذِينَ يَعْلَمُونَ وَالَّذِينَ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ إِنَّمَا يَتَذَكَّرُ أُولُو الْأَلْبَابِ. Right? So let me go to the previous ayah actually. So it's quite pertinent that I mentioned this one. So ayah number 8. وَإِذَا مَسَّ الْإِنسَانَ ضُرٌّ دَعَا رَبَّهُ مُنِيبًا إِلَيْهِ. This is an example of how ungrateful the servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can be. That when hardship and some form of harm afflicts him, دَعَا رَبَّهُ مُنِيبًا إِلَيْهِ. He turns to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and he calls him with sincerity. Right? He calls out to Allah to help him. ثُمَّ إِذَا خَوَّلَهُ نِعْمَةً مِّنْهُ نَسِيَ مَا كَانَ يَدْعُو إِلَيْهِ مِنْ قَبْلِ. Then when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He wraps around him and He covers him in His blessings. Right? خَوَّلَ means to layer blessings upon blessings upon blessings upon blessings. Right? So He's layered with all these blessings. نَسِيَ, he forgets. نَسِيَ مَا كَانَ يَدْعُو إِلَيْهِ مِنْ قَبْلِ. He forgets what he used to call upon before. إِنَّكَ وَجَعَلَ لِلَّهِ أَنْدَادًا لِيُضِلَّ عَنْ سَبِيلِهِ, and he makes for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala partners. قُلْ تَمَتَّعْ بِكُفْرِكَ قَلِيلًا إِنَّكَ مِنْ أَصْحَابِ النَّارِ. Say to him that rejoice in your ingratitude and rejoice in your disbelief for a short while. إِنَّكَ مِنْ أَصْحَابِ النَّارِ, for verily you are from the people of the fire when the time comes. Is this person the same? And sort of this example of the one who shows his ingratitude is very much similar to how we are. We can draw examples from that as well. So when good things happen to us, alhamdulillah, or when something bad happens to us, we turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in utmost sincerity, and we recognize that only He can alleviate us from the troubles that we are going through. But as soon as that hardship is gone, right? As soon as we finally get a job after being unemployed for so long, as soon as the coronavirus is lifted, we're back to our normal ways, right? And we are back to ingratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is something that shouldn't happen. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He calls us to go through hardship, He wants to remind us to turn back to Him. So we do. And when that hardship is alleviated, we have to stay steadfast in turning to Him. We have to continue turning to Him. Is this person the same? The one who does this, the one who shows ingratitude. أَمَّنْ هُوَ قَانِتٌ آنَاءَ اللَّيْلِ سَاجِدًا وَقَائِمًا. Or for the one who awakes late at night, right, in the early hours, where everyone else is sleeping. Sajidan wa qa'ima, where he is prostrating to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and standing before Him in prayer. يَحْذَرُ الْآخِرَةَ وَيَرْجُو رَحْمَةَ رَبِّهِ. And he is fearful of what could happen to him in the akhirah, and he also hopes for the mercy of his Lord. قُلْ هَلْ يَسْتَوِي الَّذِينَ يَعْلَمُونَ وَالَّذِينَ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. Tell me, say to them, are they equal, those who know and those who don't know? Those who recognize that there is an akhirah waiting for them, and those who are absolutely heedless of the akhirah that is waiting for them. Are these two both the same? Are these two both going to yield the same outcomes? Are they going to do the same things? And if they are not, then should they be treated equally? Should they get the same rewards in the akhirah? Or should there not be some form of justice? Should there not be a difference between the two? إِنَّمَا يَتَذَكَّرُ أُولُو الْأَلْبَابِ. But the only people who do remember are those who are أَصْحَابُ اللُّبْ, أُولُو الْأَلْبَابِ, right? The people who have a conscience, the people who have hearts. قُلْ يَا عِبَادِي الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا اتَّقُوا رَبَّكُمْ. Right? So in the first, this is the first instance. O my servants, who have believed, اتَّقُوا رَبَّكُمْ. Be mindful of Allah, be conscious of Allah, concern yourselves with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. لِلَّذِينَ أَحْسَنُوا فِي هَذِهِ الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَأَرْضُ اللَّهِ وَاسِعَةٌ إِنَّمَا يُوَفَّى الصَّابِرُونَ أَجْرَهُمْ بِغَيْرِ حِسَابٍ. That those who do good and act righteously in this world, they will have a reward. وَأَرْضُ اللَّهِ وَاسِعَةٌ, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's earth is wide in its expanse. So if you can't worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a certain area, if you cannot be sincere and devout to Him, مُخْلِصًا لَهُ الدِّينِ, in one area, then go to another area and be مُخْلِصًا لَهُ الدِّينِ in that area. قُلْ إِنِّي أُمِرْتُ أَنْ أَعْبُدَ اللَّهَ مُخْلِصًا لَهُ الدِّينِ. So the Prophet ﷺ is saying to them now, to everybody, that verily I have been commanded to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala مُخْلِصًا لَهُ الدِّينِ, the utmost sincerity in my devotion. وأمرت لأن أكون أول المسلمين, and I have been commanded to be the first to submit. قل إني أخاف إن عصيت ربي عذاب يوم عظيم. Say to them that I fear, and surely, definitely, I do fear a day that will come that if I am to disobey my Lord, if I am to show disobedience to my Lord, then a heinous punishment will befall me. قل الله أعبد مخلصا له ديني. So say that verily I worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is only Allah that I worship in sincerity in my devotion. So a lot of allusions to sincerity, a lot of mentions of sincerity, right? It's all about sincerity. It's all about Allah, khalisan, all right? No, not associating anything with Him. فَعْبُدُوا مَا شِئْتُم مِّن دُونِهِ, then worship whatever you guys want to worship other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. قُلْ إِنَّ الْخَاسِرِينَ الَّذِينَ خَسِرُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ وَأَهْلِيهِمْ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. But the ones who are truly lost are those who have lost themselves and their families يوم القيامة, on the day of judgment. أَلَا ذَلِكَ هُوَ الْخُسْرَانُ الْمُبِينُ. That is the worst of losses. Then he goes on to describe some of the things that are going to happen to them. And then in verse number 23, الله نزل أحسن الحديث كتابا متشابها مثانية تقشعر منه جلود الذين يخشون ربهم. Now, here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is describing what kind of effect the Qur'an is supposed to have on those who listen to it and those who read it. So Allah نزل أحسن الحديث, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is the one who sent down the best of speeches. And it was said that some of the Sahaba who were perhaps new to Islam, they asked the Prophet ﷺ to just chat to them, catch up with them, talk to me. That's what they asked the Prophet ﷺ. And so this verse was revealed. Allahu nazzala ahsan al-hadithi kitaban. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He revealed to you, He's already revealed to you the best of speech, the best of conversations. You don't need me to speak to you, right? If you're bored, right? You don't need to find other forms of entertainment. This Qur'an is the best of speech. Turn to it. Mutashabihan mathani. It is similar one to another, right? So the mathani, it's repetitive. So there are stories in it that have been repeated once, again and again and again. There are lessons in it that are repeated again and again and again, so that you may recognize and they may be instilled within your hearts. تَقْشَعِرُ مِنْهُ جُلُودُ الَّذِينَ يَخْشَوْنَ رَبَّهُم. And when you read these stories, and when you read these lessons and these parables, تَقْشَعِرُ مِنْهُ جُلُودُ الَّذِينَ يَخْشَوْنَ رَبَّهُم. Your skin, like it sort of stands up on edge, right? It's almost like you're shaking out of fear, right? تَقْشَعِرُ, when you get goosebumps. تَقْشَعِرُ جُلُودُ الَّذِينَ يَخْشَوْنَ رَبَّهُم. And the skin of those who are fearful of their Lord, recognize their Lord's majesty and His might and His power. These people, their skins and their hearts, they tremble with fear. ثُمَّ تَلِينُ جُلُودُهُمْ وَقُلُوبُهُمْ إِلَى ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ. Right? Because they hear things about the akhirah, they hear things about the Yawm al-Qiyamah and Hisab, and they hear things about the people around them, those who have disbelieved and those who are showing enmity and animosity towards them. Like, what is their end going to be? This is going to be their end, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is revealing to us their end, right? And we are concerned and fearful for them as well. And they are our loved ones, and they are our countrymen and our townsfolk. And these people, if we leave them to their misguidance, this is going to be their end. And we don't want this to be their end. We want salvation for everybody, right? So their skins and their hearts, they're standing on edge, and they're scared and they're shook. ثُمَّ تَلِينُ جُلُودُهُمْ وَقُلُوبُهُمْ إِلَى ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ. But then, after once you get past that stage of that initial fear and that, I have to do something about it, you go on and do something about it. And what is that? ثُمَّ تَلِينُ جُلُودُهُمْ وَقُلُوبُهُم إِلَى ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ. Their hearts and their skin, this very same skin and this very same heart that was once trembling in fear, is now finds tranquility and peace and serenity in the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These very same ayat and the very same revelation, when first heard, it shakes you to the core. SubhanAllah, can this be? Is it really like this? oh my God, is this going to be my end if I do this? Is this going to be my people's end if they continue to do what they're doing? And then you recognize, and then you have that serenity in you that, nah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala qaddara kulla shay. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has decreed all of these things to happen, right? And He is also, I have a purpose, right? And that purpose has to be realized. Like He has created the samawati wal ard bil haqq, and He has sent down this revelation bil haqq, with all of it with a purpose. He has too created me with a purpose. And I have found that purpose now in the remembrance of Allah. I have found that purpose now with the Qur'an that has been revealed. And now I have to do something about it. Now it is entered into my heart and is part and parcel of my very being. I need to now rise up and change that which is around me. ذَلِكَ هُدَى اللَّهِ يَهْدِي بِهِ مَنْ يَشَاءُ. That is the guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He guides to it whoever He wishes. وَمَنْ يُضْلِلِ اللَّهُ فَمَا لَهُ مِنْ هَادٍ. But whoever Allah misguides, there is no guide for him to take him out of that misguidance. And that's going to be a common theme as well, about how if Allah guides, there is none that can misguide him. And whoever Allah misguides, there is none that can guide him. That is all in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so He says, أَلَيْسَ اللَّهُ بِكَافٍ عَبْدًا, in verse number 36. Is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not enough for His servant? And the servant that He's talking about here is the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And obviously by extension, every time Allah speaks to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam directly, that is also a speech towards us. That speech is directed towards us by extension. So when we see that, is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not enough for His servant? Is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not enough for the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Of course, and that was realized in the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? But He's talking to us as well, right? So is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not enough in our lives? Or is it that we need all of these things in the dunya? We need recognition, we need status, we need praise. We need people to recognize, how amazing we are. We need people to recognize how rich we are and that we're not poor, right? We need people to recognize all of these different things about us. Is that, do we really need affirmation, confirmation from others? Or is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enough? Is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enough for us as a witness for the good that we do? Is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enough as a witness for the acts of worship that we do, right? Or do we have to do it in front of people? Tell people about it, this is what I do, and I do this at night, and I'll wake up every night, and that sort of thing. مُخْلِصًا لَهُ الدِّينِ, sincerity in devotion. أَلَيْسَ اللَّهُ بِكَافٍ عَبْدًا وَيُخَوِّفُونَكَ بِالَّذِينَ مِن دُونِهِ. And he plants fear in your hearts with regards to what's going to happen to others, right? وَمَن يُضْلِلِ اللَّهُ فَمَا لَهُ مِنْ هَادٍ. And whoever Allah misguides, there is none that can guide him. وَمَن يَهْدِ اللَّهُ فَمَا لَهُ مِن مُضِلٍ. But whoever is guided, there is nobody on earth that can misguide him. مَا لَهُ مِن مُضِلٍ. He doesn't have a misguider that can be appointed to him, even if that misguider was there with him 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, right? Because mudil ism fa'il, right? It's an ism, so it's there constantly. Whereas a fi'l, it means that it's recurring over time. It's cyclical, so it comes and it goes, it comes and it goes. But even if there was someone that was there constantly, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, pushing him towards misguidance, the person that Allah has guided will never be misguided. أَلَيْسَ اللَّهُ بِعَزِيزٍ ذِي انْتِقَامٍ. But is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not the Aziz, the one with honor, who has the ability to enact vengeance, right, upon all of these people who are standing in the way of Allah's guidance? وَلَئِنْ سَأَلْتَهُمْ مَنْ خَلَقَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. And if you ask them who has created Allah, they created the heavens and the earth, they will say, surely it is Allah. In verse number 42, death comes to those who sleep. Allahu yatawaffa al-anfusa hina mawtiha. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He takes away people's souls when they pass away. وَالَّتِي لَمْ تَمُتْ فِي مَنَامِهَا. And those who do not die, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes them away, right? He causes them to pass away in their sleep. What does this mean? You're not dead when you're sleeping, right? So how can we understand this? So we've mentioned and sort of alluded to previously in these sessions is that your self is made up of different parts. So you have your physical self, which is your body, is made up of the 5 senses, and that's how you interpret the world. You have your nafs inside you. You have your ruh inside of you, right? So nafs is, that egotistical aspect of yourself, the intellectual, the reasoning aspect of yourself. And your ruh is the spiritual, the angelic aspect of yourself that is connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that innate connection you have with Allah, right? So when you sleep, when you pass away, both your ruh and your nafs are taken from you, right? It's gone. You have no nafs and you have no ruh anymore. You just have this body that is now empty. It's a shell. And so you're buried. But when you go to sleep, one of those 2 aspects is taken from you, right? and that is your nafs. So your nafs is gone, but your ruh remains within you. And what that means is, when you sleep, you have dreams and so on and so forth, and you see good dreams, you see the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That is the angelic aspect, connecting with all these other things. And then, so your nafs goes away. So you're no longer sort of aware of what's going on around you. You don't have that same ego. So you're not sleeping. You're like, I'm the best in the world, right? You're not enacting your tyrannical pride on anybody when you're sleeping, right? You're just knockout. But there is an element of you that is still there. So the wafat, and this is a sort of an athar that is mentioned by Ibn Abbas about this, about the ruh and the nafs being taken away and your ruh staying in you, and so on and so forth. فَيُمْسِكُ الَّتِي قَضَى عَلَيْهَا الْمَوْتِ. So whoever has been sort of ordained for them to die in their sleep, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He keeps their nafs and they don't wake up from it, and He takes away their ruh as well while they're sleeping. وَيُرْسِلُ الْأُخْرَى إِلَىٰ أَجْلٍ مُسَمَّى. But for those who haven't been decreed to pass away in their sleep at that particular time, their souls or their nafs are sent back to their bodies, and they wake again, and they are there for an appointed time. إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ لِقَوْمٍ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ. Verily in that, in your sleep cycle, right, in the way you sleep and what happens to you in your sleep, that is a sign for those who truly reflect. Okay, so the idea of being covered in blessings is mentioned again, right? So we spoke about it before in verse number 8, about how when he's in hardship, when a person is in hardship, he calls to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. And when he is sort of layered with blessings again, he forgets what he was worshipping before and what he was being sincere to before. Here, it takes a slightly different tack. فَإِذَا مَسَّ الْإِنسَانَ ضُرٌّ دَعَانَا. So same beginning, that if hardship was to befall a person, then he would call to us. ثُمَّ إِذَا خَوَّلْنَاهُ نِعْمَةً. Then when we shower him and we layer him with all these blessings, قَالَ إِنَّمَا أُوتِيتُهُ عَلَى عِلْمٍ. He would turn and say that I have received these things out of knowledge, right? What he means by that is, I have received these things because I deserve to have received these things. I have done them because I have received them because I have made the correct decisions in life, and I have learnt all the skills that are required for me to acquire these blessings, right? These blessings weren't given to me as a gift by Allah, rather I acquired them through my own means. It was me who did them, and only me, and not Allah. بَلْ هِيَ فِتْنَةٌ وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَهُمْ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. Rather, this is a trial and a test, right? This is a fitna, this is a calamity. But the vast majority of them are unaware. Verse number 53 is arguably the most hopeful ayah in the Qur'an. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, قُلْ يَا عِبَادِيَ الَّذِينَ أَسْرَفُوا عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِهِمْ لَا تَقْنَطُوا مِنْ رَحْمَةِ اللَّهِ. O my servants, again, my servants, Allah's servants. O my servants, who have gone overboard. Asrafu is israf. When you use too much of something, you're wasteful, right? الَّذِينَ أَسْرَفُوا عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِهِمْ. You've been wasteful with regards to the disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You have gone overboard. Israf is like, you have a cup of water, right, that you just need to sort of rinse out. So what you do is you turn the tap on, you leave it there for about 10 minutes, the water is gushing out, you come, you wash out your glass, and then you put it on your rack or whatever, and then you leave the tap running for another 5 minutes, and then you come and you turn it off. How much water have you wasted there, right? The example of that is the person who has committed sins all his life, and he has done so just like this tap, constantly gushing forth with sins, constantly falling into them every other day, right? يا عبادي الذين أسرفوا على أنفسهم لا تقنطوا من رحمة الله. Right? Do not lose hope in the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do not despair in the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. SubhanAllah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, no matter what sins you commit, whether that fills the horizon from the sky to the earth, if you were to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with all those sins, but you were to associate no partners with Him, you were to not disbelieve in Him, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will meet all of those sins with His mercy. If you were to spend your entire life, from the day that you became of age to 60 years on, and you associate no partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but lived a life of sin, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will still meet your sins with His mercy. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy always precedes His anger and His wrath. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy is unmatched by any of the sins that you can possibly do. Right? الَّذِينَ أَسْرَفُوا عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِهِمْ. Do not despair in the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this was revealed as some of the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and even some of those who had disbelieved. They were asking that, look, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is calling us to Allah, right? And he's telling us to be dutiful to our parents. He's telling us not to steal. He's telling us not to drink. He's telling us not to kill unjustly. And we have done all of those things. We have committed shirk as well. We've done all of those things. How is Allah going to forgive us? And so the Prophet ﷺ recited to them this verse. That those who have gone way overboard with their sins, those who have transgressed the boundaries, do not despair in the mercy of Allah. Inna Allah yaghfiru dhunuba jami'a. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He forgives all sins. Innahu huwa al-ghafur rahim. Verily, He is the most merciful and the most compassionate. وَأَنِيبُوا إِلَىٰ رَبِّكُمْ وَأَسْلِمُوا لَهُ مِنْ قَبْلِ أَنْ يَأْتِيَكُمُ الْعَذَابُ ثُمَّ لَا تُنصَرُونَ. But return to Him. Return to Him. Turn back to Him. وَأَسْلِمُوا لَهُ, and submit to Him. Before a time comes to you or before a punishment comes to you, where you will find no helpers other than Him. وَاتَّبِعُوا أَحْسَنَ مَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْكُم مِّن رَبِّكُمْ, and follow the best of what has been revealed to you from your Lord, which is everything that has been revealed to us by Allah. مِّن قَبْلِ أَن يَأْتِيَكُمُ الْعَذَابُ بَغْتَةً وَأَنْتُمْ لَا تَشْعُرُونَ. Before a punishment comes to you all of a sudden. That either could be a physical punishment in the dunya, or your death comes to you all of a sudden and you haven't had time to repent. أن تقول نفس يا حسرة على ما فرطت في جنب الله وإن كنت لمن الساخرين. And it goes on to sort of list out the regrets that a person has when they die. That if only I could have done such and such, then I wouldn't have been of those who regret. If only I could go back just for one day so that I could be guided, so that I can be raised from amongst those who are conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the dunya. Or will you say that when you see the punishment, أو تقول حين ترى العذاب لو أن لي كرة فأكون من المحسنين. Only when you see the punishment come to you, right to your face, that's when you will say, I believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and I am from those who are righteous. بلى قد جاءتك آياتي فكذبت بها واستكبرت وكنت من الكافرين. Rather, my verses came to you, my signs came to you, barefaced, right in front of you. But you denied them, you lied with regards to them. You said that they were false. واستكبرت, and you were too proud to follow them. وكنت من الكافرين, and you were verily from those who were ungrateful. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala goes on to take accounts of the day of judgment. And He talks about groups. The first group is وَسِيقَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا إِلَى جَهَنَّمَ زُمَرًا. The group that is gathered together and they are taken to Jahannam. حَتَّى إِذَا جَاءُوهَا فُتِحَتْ أَبْوَابُهَا وَقَالَ لَهُمْ خَزَنَتُهَا. Until they come to its gates, and the gates are then opened. And the keepers of those gates then ask them, أَلَّمْ يَأْتِكُمْ رُسُلٌ مِّنكُمْ. Did a messenger not come from amongst you? يَتْلُونَ عَلَيْكُمْ آيَاتِ رَبِّكُمْ. They were reciting to you the verses of your Lord. وَيُنذِرُونَكُمْ لِقَاءَ يَوْمِكُمْ هَذَا. And they were warning you of this very day that you are in. قَالُوا بَلَى وَلَكِنْ حَقَّتْ كَلِمَةُ الْعَذَابِ عَلَى الْكَافِرِينَ. They will say, yes, absolutely. A messenger did come. A warner did come. But obviously we were from those who turned away. قِيلَ ادْخُلُوا أَبْوَابَ جَهَنَّمَ خَالِدِينَ فِيهَا. Enter into the fire and stay there forever. فَبِئْسَ مَثْوَى الْمُتَكَبِّرِينَ. That is the worst of abodes for those who are arrogant. وَسِيقَ الَّذِينَ اتَّقَوْا رَبَّهُمْ إِلَى الْجَنَّةِ زُمَرًا. And in the second group are those who are gathered together to go to Jannah. حَتَّى إِذَا جَاءُوهَا. Until they come to it. وَفُتِحَتْ أَبْوَابُهَا. And then the doors, the gates of Jannah are then opened. وَقَالَ لَهُمْ خَزَنَتُهَا. And the keepers of those gates then say to them, سَلَامٌ عَلَيْكُمْ طِبْتُمْ فَادْخُلُوهَا خَالِدِينَ. Salamun alaykum. Right? Peace be upon you. طِبْتُمْ. Gracious are you. Right? Noble are you. فَادْخُلُوهَا خَالِدِينَ. Enter into Jannah and stay there forever. وقالوا الحمد لله الذي صدقنا وعده وأورثنا الأرض نتبوأ من الجنة حيث نشاء. And then there is praise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that they have entered into Jannah. فَنِعْمَ أَجْرُ الْعَامِلِينَ. This is the best reward for those who do. وَتَرَى الْمَلَائِكَةَ حَافِينَ مِنْ حَوْلِ الْعَرْشِ يُسَبِّحُونَ بِحَمْدِ رَبِّهِمْ. And you see the angels all gathered around the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. يُسَبِّحُونَ بِحَمْدِ رَبِّهِمْ. And they are glorifying the praises of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَقُضِيَ بَيْنَهُمْ بِالْحَقِّ. And it is decided, it is decreed, it is judged between them with absolute truth. وَقِيلَ الْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. And every single one of mankind, from those who are in Jannah to those who are in Jahannam, are all going to say, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Okay, the people of Jannah, we understand why they're going to say Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has rewarded them for the good that they've done. and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has shown them mercy. So every time good befalls you, say Alhamdulillah. But the evil people, the people who are in Jahannam, they too are going to say Alhamdulillah. Why? Because justice has been enacted upon them, and they've recognized the evil that they did in this world, and they recognized the ramifications of that evil that they did, and how what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala judged in accordance with them was absolute justice. So Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. And what an ending that is to that particular surah. Revealed at a time when things are about to get really heated between the Prophet ﷺ and the people of Mecca. And this is like the end of it. This is going to be the end, guys. So watch out. Either believe or disbelieve. If you disbelieve, then this is going to be your end. But in the end, we are all going to say the same thing, but for different reasons. Now we're going to Surah Al-Ghafir. Surah Al-Ghafir is a surah that was revealed just after Surah Zumar, right? So around about the same time. It is also called Surah Mu'min because it narrates the story of the believer from the people of Fir'aun. So amongst the people of Fir'aun, there was a man who secretly believed, and he came to Musa and Harun's aid when Fir'aun plotted and planned to kill Musa and Harun. So when we get to that story, inshallah, we'll touch upon it in a little bit more detail. But that's why it's called Surah Mu'min, but it's called Surah Ghafir because of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's forgiveness that He shows to those who believe, and how He allows people time, an appointed time, for them to transgress in the world, but there's still an opportunity for them to return back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ghafir because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has shown you signs, and this is from His own forgiveness and mercy. He's shown you signs that you may return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's shown you He sent you messengers, and He sent you warnings, and He sent you glad tidings. All of these things so that you may recognize Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through them. And that is from His forgiveness. From the opening though, to about verse number 22, which is just before the story of Musa, Fir'aun, and the believer of the people of Fir'aun begins, is really talking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's majesty in His creation, the recompense of the disbelievers for what they have disbelieved in, and their situation in the hereafter. All of that is documented in grave detail, and it's very much a follow-on of Surah Zumar. And we said that these two surahs have been revealed around about the same time. So towards the end of Zumar, you get the two groups, Jannah and Jahannam. And in the beginning of Ghafir, you get an extension of those groups as well, and especially highlighting those who are going to Jahannam. But also coupled with that is Allah's majesty and His might through that. يَعْلَمُ خَائِنَةَ الْأَعْيُنِ وَمَا تُخْفِي الصُّدُورِ. Right? He knows the خَائِنَةُ الْأَعْيُنِ. خَائِنَةُ الْأَعْيُنِ, right, is like, the looks that you give. The sort of the still look, right? The looks that you give even with your eyes. He knows what they mean, right? You look to the left or you look to the right when someone's speaking to you. You're thinking something, then that person has no idea what you're thinking. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows even what that is about. وَمَا تُخْفِي الصُّدُورِ. That, even the slightest action, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows of yours. Why you did it, the purposes. وَمَا تُخْفِي الصُّدُورِ. And He knows what is hidden in your heart that nobody else has any clue about whatsoever. وَاللَّهُ يَقْضِي بِالْحَقِّ وَالَّذِينَ يَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِهِ لَا يَقْضُونَ بِشَيْءٍ إِنَّ اللَّهَ هُوَ السَّمِيعُ الْبَصِيرُ. أَوَلَمْ يَسِيرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ فَيَنْظُرُوا كَيْفَ كَانَ عَاقِبَةُ الَّذِينَ كَانُوا مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ. And sort of an advice to those people who have disbelieved, that look, would you not go out in the earth and see what happened to the people before you? The characteristics that you show, they're nothing new. This idea of you being in charge, you being the leader, and you being afraid of someone coming and usurping you of that leadership, right? That is not something new. This same thing happened to Fir'aun. The same thing happened to Ad. The same thing happened to Thamud. They all reckoned that their prophets had come to them thinking that they wanted power and dominion over them, thinking that they wanted control over them. Rather, all they were doing was calling them to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, calling them to morals and ethics, calling them to justice, calling to those things that were right to live by. That's all they were doing, right? But you, in your own minds, thought that they wanted to have some sort of power of you, so you rejected it because you didn't want to lose your own power, right? Uluwan wa istikbara. Out of arrogance and haughtiness. فَأَخَذَهُمُ اللَّهُ بِذُنُوبِهِمْ وَمَا كَانَ لَهُم مِّنَ اللَّهِ مِنْ وَاقٍ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took them because of their sins, and they had no protector from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّهُمْ كَانَتْ تَأْتِيهِمْ رُسُلُهُم بِالْبَيِّنَاتِ. This is because messengers were coming to them. This is sort of reassurance to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Look, messengers were sent to these guys, and they acted in the same way that Quraysh are acting with you. فَكَفَرُوا فَأَخَذَهُمُ اللَّهُ. So they disbelieved, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took them. إِنَّهُ قَوِيٌّ شَدِيدُ الْعِقَابِ. Verily, He is the most strong, right, the strongest. شَدِيدُ الْعِقَابِ, the severe in punishment. وَلَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا مُوسَى بِآيَاتِنَا وَسُلْطَانٍ مُبِينٍ. Then we get to the story of Musa. Now, when it's always said, we kind of highlight a lot about, the punishment that's going to take place, or the recompense that's going to befall those who disbelieve and turn their backs, right? And it's almost as if like the Prophet ﷺ has come with this and only this. And we associate the sending of a messenger with a punishment, right? But you have to remember that the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is always going to come to these people, whether Allah sends a messenger or not. The reason why He sends a messenger, though, is out of His mercy, so that these people can have a chance of redemption, so that these people can have a chance to save themselves, right? So He sends a messenger not as someone of a bringer of this punishment, that listen, now that I'm here, you guys are dead. Now that I'm here, you guys are going to be destroyed. No, now that I'm here, you guys have an opportunity to believe and turn back. You guys have an opportunity to change your ways. Allah is showing you mercy through the messenger. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. But these people, they turn away from even a messenger that is sent to them, even to a book and that is revealed to them. They turn their backs on it. And so for them is that punishment that they are destined to have. وَلَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا مُوسَى بِآيَاتِنَا وَسُلْطَانٍ مُبِينٍ. So here we have the story of Musa. Now, the story of Musa here, there is only a very sort of small chunk of this particular part of the story of Musa that is narrated with regards to what happened between Musa and Fir'aun. The vast majority of this particular story is accounting the situation that took place between a person who believed from amongst the people of Fir'aun, and what he says in the absence of Musa alayhi salam. And this is very much a message to those who, in the time of this surah was revealed in the Meccan period, those who hear the call of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, they truly believe it. They're like, what this guy is saying is it makes sense. And what the Quraysh are upon is just misguidance, and they are enacting so much tyranny and persecution on the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam just for him calling to this. He can't be like upon dalala, and these people are certainly upon dalala. So, I believe in him. But because of the persecution that was going on around them, they didn't come out openly to defend the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They didn't come out openly and fight in the way of defending the not physically, even verbally, not even saying anything towards the pagan Arabs that were enacting this persecution to the Muslims. They were quiet in their iman. So this story is like a motivation for them, that look, even in the time of Musa, who was a prophet just like this prophet, who was sent to Fir'aun, who was a tyrant just like the Quraysh, even from amongst them, there were some people who hid their iman. But that didn't stop them from not saying anything at all. Rather, they rose when the occasion came, and when the opportunity came, they rose up and they defended Musa, just like you guys should defend the Prophet ﷺ and the believers. So it starts with وَقَالَ فِرْعَوْنُ ذَرُونِي أَقْتُلْ مُوسَى وَلْيَدْعُ رَبَّهُ. So he's saying to his people, and he's saying to his crew, this is all after the situation of Musa and Fir'aun and the throwing of the stick and so on and so forth has happened, right? So Fir'aun, he goes back to his advisors and he's like, what? Let me just kill Musa, right? And let me kill him at a time when he is calling to his Lord, so that everybody can see that his Lord is false and his Lord is fake, and I am the only true God that they should worship, because his God cannot save him while I am killing him. إِنِّي أَخَافُ أَن يُبَدِّلَ دِينَكُمْ. Verily, I fear that he's going to change your religion. أَوْ أَن يُظْهِرَ فِي الْأَرْضِ الْفَسَادِ. Or he's going to spread corruption in the land. Exactly what Fir'aun was doing, he was accusing Musa of wanting to do, right? These guys just they're prone to violence. They want to kill, right? They want to make everybody subservient to them, right? We hear this type of propaganda as well, right? Don't we? So this is the same propaganda that Fir'aun is doing to Musa alayhi salam. وقال موسى إني عذت بربي وربكم من كل متكبر لا يؤمن بيوم الحساب. Exactly what the Prophet ﷺ is ordered to do. That seek refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from every proud and arrogant person who doesn't believe in the hereafter. وقال رجل مؤمن من آل فرعون. Here is the story. وقال رجل مؤمن من آل فرعون. So a believing man from the people of Fir'aun. يكتم إيمانه. He is hiding his iman. أتقتلون رجلا أن يقول ربي الله. Do you kill a man that says ربي الله? And this is so similar to an account that happened with the Prophet ﷺ. One day the Prophet ﷺ was sitting in Mecca, And the heads of Quraysh were sitting in another side of the Kaaba. So the Kaaba is like here. The Prophet ﷺ is sitting in this side of the Haram, and the heads of Quraysh are sitting on another side. And the Prophet ﷺ, one of them comes, I forget his name, but one of them comes, and he comes behind the Prophet ﷺ, and he has like a rag in his hand. And he wraps this rag around the neck of the Prophet ﷺ, and he tightens it behind his neck, and he squeezes it in order to strangle the Prophet ﷺ. And while he was doing that, Abu Bakr just happened to come into the masjid at the time. And he saw this happening, so he ran over to the Prophet ﷺ, and he was pushing this guy away, and he was trying to, get him off him. And he was saying these very words: "أَتَقْتُلُونَ رَجُلًا أَن يَقُولَ رَبِّيَ اللَّهُ." Do you kill a man just because he says, "My Lord is Allah"? وَقَدْ جَاءَكُمْ بِالْبَيِّنَاتِ مِنْ رَبِّكُمْ. And he is this man, this Musa alayhi salam, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he has come with clear proofs, this Qur'an. He is an unlettered person, unread, uneducated, but he's coming with the most eloquent of speech, and he's telling you about things that he should have no knowledge of. وَإِن يَكُ كَاذِبًا فَعَلَيْهِ كَذِبُ. If he's a liar, then his lies will become apparent, right? He'll be exposed sooner or later. وَإِن يَكُ صَادِقًا يُصِبْكُم بَعْضُ الَّذِي يَعِدُكُم. But if he is true in what he is saying, then some of what he is warning you will certainly come to pass. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَهْدِي مَنْ هُوَ مُسْرِفٌ كَذَّابٌ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He doesn't love those who, or doesn't guide, those who go overboard in their transgression and their tyranny. Nor does He guide those who are liars. يَا قَوْمِ لَكُمُ الْمُلْكُ الْيَوْمَ ظَاهِرِينَ فِي الْأَرْضِ فَمَنْ يَنْصُرُنَا مِنْ بَأْسِ اللَّهِ إِنْ جَاءَنَا. My people, he goes on to say, my people, you guys are in control right now. You guys are in power right now. But who will come to your aid if the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes to you? And he says this like he's one of them. Like, who's going to help us? I'm a believer, right? I'm with Musa. But who's going to help all of us if the punishment of Allah comes? قَالَ فِرْعَوْنُ مَا أُرِيكُمْ إِلَّا مَا أَرَى. So Fir'aun, he replies to him and says, look, I'm only doing that which I think is best, right? وَمَا أُرِيكُمْ وَمَا أَهْدِيكُمْ إِلَّا سَبِيلَ الرَّشَادِ. And I am only guiding you to the best of ways, right? This is what the evidence points towards. This is what sound reasoning points towards. This is all I am doing. I am only showing you the truth. وَقَالَ الَّذِي آمَنَ يَا قَوْمِ إِنِّي أَخَافُ عَلَيْكُمْ مِثْلَ يَوْمِ الْأَحْزَابِ. And he's so this person, he says to them, this believer, that look, I fear for you an ending just like the ending of the people that came before you. مثل دأب قوم نوح وعاد وثمود. So, Nuh, Ad, Thamud, all of these stories we've heard of, right? وَمَا اللَّهُ يُرِيدُ ظُلْمًا لِلْعِبَادِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't want to oppress, nor does He want His servants to oppress each other. وَيَا قَوْمِ إِنِّي أَخَافُ عَلَيْكُمْ يَوْمَ التَّنَادِ. I fear for you a day of reckoning. يَوْمَ تُوَلُّونَ مُدْبِرِينَ مَا لَكُمْ مِنَ اللَّهِ مِنْ عَاصِمٍ. The day in which you will all turn and try to flee from, but you will have no protector other than Allah. وَمَنْ يُضْلِلِ اللَّهُ فَمَا لَهُ مِنْ هَادٍ. And whoever Allah misguides, there is none to guide him. وَلَقَدْ جَاءَكُمْ يُوسُفُ مِنْ قَبْلِ بِالْبَيِّنَاتِ فَمَا زِلْتُمْ فِي شَكٍّ مِمَّا جَاءَكُمْ بِهِ. Do you guys not remember Yusuf alayhi salam? Right? So Yusuf came way before Musa, right? And Yusuf was amongst Al-Aziz and so on and so forth. So he was amongst the upper echelons of the pharaohs back in the day. Do you guys not remember this guy? He was there amongst you before. He was saying the same thing that Musa was saying to you now, right? Musa hasn't come with something new. Don't forget what Yusuf alayhi salam. Yusuf alayhi salam was a respectable man, and he was high up in society. And we used to take from him, we used to learn from him, we used to trust him with the khaza'in al-ard, right? We used to trust him with the treasury of our government, right? And he was saying the same thing that Musa would say. So don't forget, remember, فَمَا زِلْتُمْ فِي شَكٍّ مِمَّا جَاءَكُمْ بِهِ. But you guys are doubting now what he said before. حَتَّى إِذَا هَلَكَ قُلْتُمْ لَنْ يَبْعَثَ اللَّهُ مِنْ بَعْدِهِ رَسُولًا. Then after when Yusuf died, you said to yourselves that, you know what, this is the last of the messengers. Allah is not going to send us anybody after him, right? We're free. We're free from all of the things that he was saying to us, what he was warning us of, and so on and so forth. Alhamdulillah, he's gone now. كَذَلِكَ يُضِلُّ اللَّهُ مَنْ هُوَ مُسْرِفٌ مُرْتَابٌ. That is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala misguides those who have gone way overboard in their doubts with regards to what Allah has revealed. الَّذِينَ يُجَادِلُونَ فِي آيَاتِ اللَّهِ بِغَيْرِ سُلْطَانٍ أَتَاهُمْ. And it goes on to express how they have been misguided. وَقَالَ فِرْعَوْنُ يَا هَامَانُ ابْنِ لِي صَرْحًا لَعَلِّي أَبْلُغُ الْأَسْبَابِ. Then Fir'aun turns to his faithful servant Haman. And Haman, we said before, he was the architect for Fir'aun. And he asked him to build him a stairway, build him a ladder, right? ابن لي صرحا لعلي أبلغ الأسباب, so that I can climb up towards the heavens. أسباب السماوات فأطلع إلى إله موسى, so that I can come and see the God of Musa. وإني لأظنه كاذبا, but I think that he's lying. وكذلك زين لفرعون سوء عمله وصد عن السبيل وما كيد فرعون إلا في تباب. And that is how Fir'aun was misguided, right? That is how he thought that, he was somehow better than Musa, because he was coming up with all these intellectual arguments that, look, let me go up to the heavens and let me see this Lord of Musa. Let me have a look at him, right? Even though I won't be able to look at him, even though I won't be able to see him, and so on and so forth. وقال الذي آمن يا قوم اتبعوني أهدكم سبيل الرشاد. So this man is coming to his people, this believer. He's saying, follow me, I will guide you to the right way. You have Musa here, right? Musa is there. Follow Musa, right? He is the one who is sent by Allah. He is the prophet of Allah. He is the one who's given revelation. He doesn't say follow Musa, he says follow me. Why? Because the people of Fir'aun, they dislike Musa because he's from Bani Israel. So that racist mentality in them is coming to the fore, and they don't want to follow Musa because Musa is a servant, and he is from a people who are subservient to the people of Fir'aun. So how can he follow a servant? How can he put himself so low? So instead of, okay, forget Musa then, don't follow Musa, follow me. I follow Musa, so follow me. I am from you. I am from amongst you. I am one of your people, right? يا قوم إنما هذه الحياة الدنيا متاع وإن الآخرة هي دار القرار. This dunya is just a temporary enjoyment. The afterlife is where you guys are going to live permanently. من عمل سيئة فلا يجزى إلا مثلها. And then he goes on to tell them what Musa alayhi salam is telling them. Tell them what Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam is telling his people. That whoever does an evil act, he will be rewarded, he will be recompensed for what he has done. ومن عمل صالحا من ذكر أو أنثى وهو مؤمن فأولئك يدخلون الجنة يرزقون فيها بغير حساب. But whoever does righteous deeds and believes, then for them they will enter into Jannah, and they will be provided within Jannah without any accountability. وَيَا قَوْمِ مَا لِي أَدْعُوكُمْ إِلَى النَّجَاةِ وَتَدْعُونَنِي إِلَى النَّارِ. Why is it that I call you to salvation and you call me towards the fire? تَدْعُونَنِي لِأَكْفُرَ بِاللَّهِ وَأُشْرِكَ بِهِ. You call me to disbelieve in Allah and associate partners with Him. Why? Why should I do such a thing? مَا لَيْسَ لِي بِهِ عِلْمٍ. And there is absolutely no authority, no proof for anything that you guys are saying. وَأَنَا أَدْعُوكُمْ إِلَى الْعَزِيزِ الْغَفَّارِ. And I am calling to you towards Al-Aziz Al-Ghaffar, the most compassionate and the one with all the honor. لا جرم أن ما تدعونني إليه ليس له دعوة في الدنيا ولا في الآخرة. This thing that you're calling me to, it doesn't have a stand. It doesn't have a leg to stand on, not here in this world, nor in the Akhirah. وأن مردنا إلى الله وأن المسرفين هم أصحاب النار. And that verily we will all return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and those who transgressed, those who went overboard, they will be from the people of the fire. فستذكرون ما أقول لكم. So you guys will remember what I said to you. وأفوض أمري إلى الله. And I leave all my affairs to Allah, right? Everything that I have said it. Whatever happens now, I leave to Allah. Inna Allah basirun bil ibad. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all aware of His servants. فَوَقَاهُ اللَّهُ سَيِّئَاتِ مَا مَكَرُوا وَحَاقَ بِآلِ فِرْعَوْنَ سُوءُ الْعَذَابِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved this person from what happened to Fir'aun, and Fir'aun was drowned with his people when he chased after Musa. النَّارُ يُعْرَضُونَ عَلَيْهَا غُدُوًّا وَعَشِيًّا. Every morning and every evening, the fire shall touch Fir'aun and his people. وَيَوْمَ تَقُومُ السَّاعَةِ. Right, that's when he's died, after he's dead, right? And when the hour comes, وَيَوْمَ تَقُومُ السَّاعَةِ أَدْخِلُوا آلَ فِرْعَوْنَ أَشَدَّ الْعَذَابِ. Fir'aun will be entered into a heinous punishment. And that completes the story of the believer of Fir'aun. Amazing how his story is documented more than the conversations that take place with Musa alayhi salam and Fir'aun. And amazing how he styles his conversation with Fir'aun. And it is said that he used to be a policeman, right? An officer back in the day, low ranking at the time of Musa alayhi salam, when he was in Egypt before he ran away to Madian. And it was actually this very same person who told Musa, listen, Musa, get out of here. The people are coming, Fir'aun's people are coming and planning to kill you, right? And it was him that warned Musa alayhi salam. So he went, Musa alayhi salam, he spent 10, 15, 20 years, however many years he spent in Madian. And when he came back, now this guy is raised in the ranks and he is now in the court of Fir'aun. He's amongst, the decision makers. and the big boys of Fir'aun. So there are many other things in this surah that I mentioned. I want to take a little bit of a breather, inshallah, and we'll come back to it, inshallah, if we can. Let's have a look at some of the questions that are out there. Bismillah. So one is asking, can divorced woman remarry without the permission of her father? Can a divorced woman marry without a wali? I think that's what you're asking for. Oh, that's what you're asking about. She can engage in her marital affairs as she sees fit. As she sees fit. Fast is getting to me, guys. Yeah, so yeah, she can do that. Obviously, there's a lot more detail in that, in terms of what she's allowed to do, what she's not allowed to do. Does anyone know the Zoom password? I don't think that's the question for me. Can we count any surah recitation in our accounting during menstrual cycle? Can we count any surah? Okay, I'm not sure what that means. I'm going to go with, can we recite a surah during our menstrual cycle? So in terms of the Qur'an itself, you can't read the Qur'an when you're on your menstrual cycle, nor can you touch the Qur'an, but you can recite it if you have it committed to memory. There's a bit of a difference of opinion with regards to that. Some ulama, they say that that's allowed, and some ulama say that's not allowed. But according to the Malikis, the madhab as-sada, that is permissible, inshallah ta'ala. Assalamu alaikum, Imam. When you see the Prophet in the dream, is it confirmed to be him, or can it be something else, whether psychological, or Satan, or jinn? Prophet ﷺ said, "Man ra'ani fil manam faqad ra'ani fa inna ash-shaytana la yatamathalu bi." That whoever sees me in his dream, he has certainly seen me. For verily, shaitan cannot imitate me in a dream. He cannot come in my form. So when you see the Prophet ﷺ, you see him. And even though you've never seen him before, right? All you've heard is just like, descriptions of him in books, Shama'il Muhammadiyah, this is how he looked, this is how he walked, this was like, this was his facial features, this was his body type, and so on and so forth, right? We have all these things, right? But we've never seen him. There's never been a picture of him drawn or anything like that, even though the ones that have been quite denigrating. But when you see him in your dream, you know it's him. There's something in you that tells you that it's him. And whenever you see that something, or whenever you feel that something that is him, it's definitely him. Sometimes you see him, like fully in the face. Sometimes you only see a part of him. Sometimes you see the back of him. Sometimes you don't see him, but you know he's sitting there and he's speaking to you, right? All of these things. All of those things are the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. What is the best way to find a wife? MashaAllah. That will get me close to my deen. Of course, that's very, very important. Is it better to find through the masjid or through family? Sorry for this absurd question. I fear a lot. No, it's not an absurd question at all. This is actually a question that it shows one's iman, that one wants to fulfill his desires through what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has permitted. And this is something that should be praiseworthy, as opposed to someone being ashamed and somehow shy of even speaking about. So the best way to find a wife, to be fair, I don't know the best way to find a wife, but the best wife to find is the one who certainly has deen. فَاظْفَرْ بِذَاتِ الدِّينِ تَرِبَتْ يَدَاكَ. That you can marry a woman for so many reasons, but the best reason to marry a woman is for her deen, and vice versa, right? If a man doesn't have deen in him, girls, watch out. You may have all the money in the world, but that's not going to get you very far. Okay. So you can find it through the masjid, through people in the masjid. You can find it through relatives. You can find it through whatever means you can find it through. But inshallah, make sure you have a certain criteria that you are looking for, and make sure that criteria includes those who have deen in them. Assalamu alaikum. I suffer from hay fever. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alleviate you from your suffering. I take the tablet and nasal spray prior to starting fast, but can you use the nasal spray during fasting as it's a liquid? Ooh, that nasal spray, if it goes, so depending on how deep it is, if it's just like up here, then potentially. But if it goes beyond that and it actually sort of goes down your throat, because I know some nasal sprays, when you spray them, You have to do it a certain way, and then it goes down. If it's like that, then it's not permissible to use nasal spray. But if it's just sort of in your nose and doesn't go beyond, then that should be okay, inshallah. But Allah grant you patience, inshallah, and perseverance through that. Can we give fitrana, zakat al-fitr, to our parents? And may peace and blessings be with you. SubhanAllah. I mean, can you give zakat al-fitr to your parents? No, because your parents are supposed to be giving zakat al-fitr on your behalf. So no, you don't give zakat al-fitr to your parents. It can be given by others to your parents if your parents are sort of needy, but no. Let's have a look. If time permits, please explain about Salat al-Awabin. Just heard about it yesterday. Explain about it, Salat al-Awabin. Okay. Is there more reward in reading, reciting Qur'an? Inshallah, I'll cover that another time. Is there more reward in reading, reciting Qur'an if you don't understand Arabic? Is there more reward in reading or reciting the Qur'an if you don't understand Arabic? Or in reading, pondering the meaning? Oh, I see. Okay. So if you recite the Qur'an, even if you don't understand Arabic, then is that more rewardable than if you sit down and you try to ponder the meanings and so on and so forth? So those are two separate things, the reciting and the pondering. They're both rewarded separately. So you're rewarded for a recitation and you're rewarded for your pondering. So which one is more rewardable, only Allah knows, because He's the one who is rewarding you with. But you have a reward for your recitation and you have a reward for your pondering. So neither one is like, I should do this one because it's better than the other, right? And they both go hand in hand. So you can recite all you want, but make sure you understand some of what you're reciting, right? So, and obviously, you have your entire lives, guys. You have the entire month of Ramadan. It's not just one day, one time that you're going to sit down and read the Qur'an and this is it. So you have to choose between whether to understand it or to recite it. You have your entire Ramadan. Spend an hour in the day reciting and spend an hour in the day understanding. And then you get both rewards for both, inshallah. Did Shaitan disbelieve in Allah or associate partners with Allah? He didn't commit shirk with Allah, right? But you can say that, his disobedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? And his his standing against Allah, right? In open defiance, right? That is, and taking himself as someone who's going to misguide, where Allah is going to guide everybody, He is the one who's going to misguide everybody. That is enough. That is enough of kufr, right? Allah is there, you're with Allah, in the company of Allah, in the company of His angels. We're here now in this world, right? We have just the book of Allah and what has reached us from the actions of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we believe or disbelieve, right? Whereas Iblis was there amongst the angels in Jannah and he disbelieved. That is setting the bar really high, man. Okay, Allah destined hellfire for Shaitan for eternity, but humans who commit mass evil but believed in Allah and Islam, will they eventually get Jannah, or will they need forgiveness of the peoples whose rights and lives they took? Ad-dalu ala al-khayri kafa'ili. The one who is a who guides towards good gets the reward of those who do good. So what do you think of the one who guides towards evil, right? What do you think of the one who stops people from doing good, right? And what does Shaitan set out to do? And not just for Adam alayhi salam, but for all of his children who have come. And how many millions and billions of people have come since then that Shaitan is working on? Those who disbelieve and those who believe. Misguiding them. And he's made his pact with Allah as well, right? Don't forget that. He's made an agreement with Allah that, let me do this and then send me to Jahannam. Right. Is there any du'as or actions for feeling panic and doubt? The Prophet ﷺ, he used to make du'a. Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-hammi wal-hazan. He used to make du'a for anxiety and depression. He used to seek refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from it. Right? And this is a big deal, right? Sort of mental illnesses and mental health and stuff like that. This is a big deal in the deen. And the Prophet ﷺ used to take those things seriously. So yeah, there are du'as in the masnoon and the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ that you can recite. I know there is the main ones, but is there any hidden gems? MashaAllah. I wish my memory was like photographic, So every time I'm asked about something, I could just bring it out. But unfortunately, I don't know the gems that you're looking for. I appreciate all your guys' efforts. Jazakallah khair. Are you allowed to do dhikr when in the bathroom? Not when you're doing your business, but washing hands, doing wudu. I love your questions, guys. MashaAllah. There's so much ihtiram and respect in those questions, MashaAllah. You're not spelling things out, right? Are you allowed to do dhikr when in the bathroom? Okay. So this is a bit of a weird one. So, you know, when you're doing wudu and stuff, you know, you say Bismillah before you do your wudu. And at the end of the wudu, you say the du'as and stuff like that. Whilst you're doing that, if the toilet is there and stuff like that, it's kind of a little bit of a weird situation, right? You can wait until you come out, or you can do it, you know, there and then. So I suppose, yeah, I'm a bit at odds with this one. I'd prefer not to, because, you know, that's where you do your business, and, you know, your sink is there and all that sort of stuff. But if you do it, as long as, you know, you're not actually doing your business at the time of doing it, that's a definite no-no. But elsewhere, outside of that, you know, washing your hands, doing wudu, etc., there might be a scope for that, but probably better to wait until you get out, inshallah. Please clarify, free will and Allah has destined everything. Is guidance and misguidance destined? It is. If Allah has decided, how can we be accounted for what we do? It's all by the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yeah. Yeah, of course you're held accountable for what you do. You decide. Allah can decree, but you're the one who does, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you don't question Allah about what He does. You're the one who's going to be questioned, right? He does whatever He wills. If He wants, He can wipe you all out and bring a new creation. What are you going to say after that? Why has He wiped us out, and, you know, He shouldn't have wiped us out, right? He destroyed nations before us. Why did He destroy those nations? He shouldn't have destroyed those nations. Allah is not, He's not questioned. Why did He create the plant the way He created the plant? Why did He create that tree the way? Why did He put the season the way He's put the season? Why did He create this earth? 3 parts water and 2 parts water and 1 part land. You know, why has He created the earth here and we are just on this planet, and the rest of the planets, the rest of the galaxy, there's no inhabitants there that we know of, right? Allah is not, He's not questioned about all of these things. And the same thing about His decree. He's not questioned about His decree. You guys are the ones that are going to be questioned. So the more you ponder about why Allah has destined for us this and so on and so forth, the less you're going to do. And the less you're going to want to do. And the more you're going to, is going to be a fitna for you. So the bottom line of all of that is, though, is that Allah has already decreed all things. And His past and future, He doesn't have a past and future like we have a past and future. So everything is happening for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala like it's happening in the present moment. Right? And this is something that can't be fathomed. We can't get our heads around it, right? Because we are limited human beings in terms of our intellect. What we understand of this world is very limited in what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows of what His creation is. So He knows exactly what we're going to do. He knows our past. He knows our future. He knows what we're going to do. He knows what we're not going to do as well. And He knows what would have happened had we have done it. Can you get your head around that? Can you understand the different possibilities and the different scenarios and different outcomes? Allah knows all of those things. And you have no idea. There's so many variables and so many million outcomes that can possibly happen in your life on a day-to-day basis, right? Allah knows all of those outcomes, but He decreed for you this path, right? And now you're saying, well, why? You can't get your head around those things, my friend. You can't. So it is not your job. Your job is to do, right? Your job is to act. And you will see the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala become manifest to you. Everybody's destiny becomes easy for them to recognize. Whatever they were created for, whether they were destined for the fire, that will be made easy for them, and they'll recognize their destiny and they'll just go for it. Same way for the people who are destined for Jannah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us of those who are destined for Jannah. Ameen. The pain of the soul being taken out. Do you feel this if you pass away in sleep? Okay, I can't speak from experience, but it is said that the believer, when he passes, he is passing as if water is coming out of a glass jug, right? So the tip of the jug, the way the water just sort of flows out of it, smooth, and goes into your glass, and like that. That's how your soul will come out. And then the disbeliever, and the one who's destined for Jahannam, he will come out as if like cotton wool is coming out of a container. That container has a very narrow opening, and when it is coming out, that narrow opening has thorns that are directed inwardly. So when he is coming out, he gets caught on those thorns and it's ripped out of that container. So that is how it's been described. So in your sleep, however you're destined. And that is obviously alim al-ghayb, that is connected to your ruh and your nafs, and it's not your physical body that you feel. Does the ayat of the Qur'an of mercy apply to shaitan and jinn? The ayat of mercy apply to all of creation, just like the ayat of adab apply to all of creation, right? So it's not these ayat are specifically for the believers so you can ignore every other ayah. No, every single ayah is directed towards them. And we said before how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has this amazing ability to direct his message to every single one of mankind while speaking to a certain person. He might be speaking directly to the Prophet ﷺ, but he means everybody else, right? He might be speaking to the kuffar, but he means everybody else at the same time. Everyone can take lessons from the Qur'an. Okay, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Can a woman go to the masjid during the time of the month? No, she can't. Not for a talk or anything like that. She can't go to the masjid. But masajid are built now sort of differently. So you have certain areas which are considered the masjid and other areas that are considered like community halls, community centers and that sort of thing. Whilst we say all of it is a masjid, in actual fact, it's only a certain section of it that is the masjid. So it may be in some masajid where you can actually go to what is called the masjid, but it isn't actually purposely built as for the masjid. So you have to look into that and ask your local masjid whether that is the case. So you may be able to attend a talk there. But if it is the masjid itself, the actual masjid itself, then no. Okay, I'm getting signs from Sulaiman. So there's quite a bit more to cover actually in Ghafir and Fussilat. Fussilat, alhamdulillah, it covers the 25th by a page only. So inshallah we can account for that as the for tomorrow, inshallah. Okay, there's loads of questions, guys, mashallah. I know there was loads of questions yesterday that I wanted to sort of cover today as well. But let's see if we can get through a couple more, inshallah, in the next couple of minutes, and then we'll end with the dua. And then, inshallah, we will break our fasts together, inshallah. What is the best age to get married in terms of maturity? Maturity is a subjective thing. You could be 15 and very mature. You could be 20 and very mature. You could be 30 and a man baby. So you could be 30 and very, very immature. So it all depends on who you are as a person. So there's no set age. The Prophet ﷺ got married at 25, but he was very mature even before that. So that is the sunnah age to get married, though, the 25. So whenever you have the ability to, so obviously your wife has rights over you as well. So whenever you're able to fulfill those rights for your wife, that is the age to get married. As well, you have maturity in the way you think. You don't take things personally. You're not prone to sort of constantly argue and bicker, and don't hold grudges very easily. And there's no playground violence with you, and playground grudges, and that sort of thing. So if you're above that level, if you've like sort of traversed that rocky stage of youth, then inshallah I think you might be ready to get married. Can you attend a tajweed class at the ladies' mosque section when on menses? Again, that goes back to whether that part of the masjid is actually called a masjid, or whether that is just a community center or something like that. You mentioned yesterday that adoption of children don't necessarily share the same rights as blood children. If the adopted child is breastfed, yeah, that's different now. Yeah, that's different. That's from Rada'a. So it's no longer adopted. So adoption in Islam, it doesn't mean that it takes your name and stuff like that and is your literal child. It just means you're looking after them. Whereas your children from Rada'a are a little bit different. So there's the laws of hijab and so on and so forth are different with regards to them. Are asthma inhalers acceptable during the fast as the liquid is going into the lungs and not the stomach? No, but it's going beyond the throat. So anything that goes beyond here is considered muftir. And there's no guarantee that it's not going to the stomach either. Would you tell the difference between azab al-qabr and fitnat al-qabr? Inshallah, another time, bi'idhnillah. Okay, so there's quite a few more questions on here. I tried to cover as many as I possibly could, but mashallah, you guys are very, very inquisitive, and mashallah, some really, really good questions as well. But I think we'll stop there, and we'll save a little bit of time to make dua as well, and we'll end on our own dua, inshallah. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us our shortcomings, and forgive us our sins, and save us from the punishment of the hellfire. اللهم اغفر لنا ذنوبنا وإسرافنا في أمرنا وثبت أقدامنا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. اللهم اهدنا بالقرآن، اللهم اهدنا بالقرآن، اللهم اهدنا بالقرآن، اللهم اجعله ربيع قلوبنا ونور صدورنا وذهاب همومنا وجلاء غمومنا يا رب العالمين. اللهم لا تدع لنا في هذا المجلس ذنبا إلا غفرته، ولا مريضا إلا شفيته، ولا ذا حاجة من حوائج الدنيا إلا قضيت حاجته يا رب العالمين. اللهم اجعلنا من عتقاء شهر رمضان، اللهم بلغنا ليلة القدر، اللهم اغفر لنا فيه، اللهم إنك عفو تحب العفو فاعف عنا، اللهم إنك عفو تحب العفو فاعف عنا، اللهم إنك عفو تحب العفو فاعف عنا. وصل اللهم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. سبحانك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. آمين آمين. جزاكم الله khair, guys. What a pleasure it was to see you again, and I will hope to see you again tomorrow, inshallah ta'ala. Please take a moment to make dua, and if you can, remember me also, inshallah. I'll be very, very, very grateful. جزاكم الله خيرا والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
الله